It's racing time in Le Mans, and on the pole position it's Norby Kiss again for the 7th time this season. Only in Most was the pole setter. And now let's see who can put pressure on him. Is it maybe Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn? There are a lot of rivals. They want to put a lot of pressure on Norby Kiss. And now have fun with our commentators Jess and Ebi.
Hello again, everybody. Thank you very much there, Chris, down on the grid. And yes, indeed, my name is Chaz Draycott. I'm here to guide you through this afternoon's action. And we start with race 3 of the weekend, race 15 of the championship. And as you can see by the glowing white surface here at Le Mans, it's been raining between qualifying and the race. We had rain yesterday between races 1 and 2, but today it comes between qualifying and race 1. Norbert Kiss did a fantastic job, not just in qualifying today and yesterday, but of course in that second race of yesterday where he started from, I believe it was 6th on the grid. Yes, it was 6th on the grid to take the race win in amazingly difficult conditions, a developing track all the way through, plenty of drivers in front of him to negotiate his way around, and he showed once again the commitment and the pace that we've seen every single round from him so far this season, which is why he is top of the standings. After yesterday's races, Norby has 7 race wins, 9 podiums, and 149 points in the championship over Adam Lachko's 130. 4 pole positions have gone the way of Norbert Kiss so far this season, with Jochen Hahn getting 3. So that would have meant that today's pole position was Norbert Kiss's 5th of the season, and only Jochen Hahn is able to match him on that so far. We've had 5 different race winners, Norbert Kiss with 7, 2 apiece for Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn, and then 1 win apiece for Adam Lachko and Andrei Kurzim, who will start from 6th on the grid for today's race, or at least today's first race. Anyway, there is Jochen Hahn. He's going to be starting 3rd on the grid, just behind Sascha Lenz. It was very close at the end of that qualifying session, but Sascha Lenz just pipping Jochen Hahn to the front row of the grid in his truck, which, as you can see on the left-hand side there, is named Julia. He names all of his trucks, and he has a little plaque inside some of the trucks as well, I've been told. I saw one of his ex-racing trucks at Thruxton a few months ago. There's Renee Reiner. He's going to be starting from 4th on the grid. He's had a fantastic day so far. Really strong qualifying by Renee. Doesn't have any podium finishes this season. He's 11th in the championship with 17 points. But he's done incredibly well to get on the 2nd row of the grid. 3rd row of the grid is headed up by this guy, Antonio Albertetti, truck 23. Had a very, very fun day yesterday. Race 1, he qualified 2nd and finished 2nd. And in race 2, unfortunately, it didn't quite go to plan. He started 7th and he finished 8th. But we have the first of our interviews, and it is with the man we just saw there, Renee Reiner.
Yeah, Renee Reiner, 4th position. I think this is the best position for this season. Last weekend was very difficult. What went better this time?
Yeah, I told you yesterday already that we try to find a good setup all the time, and we didn't find it till now in this season, you know. And yesterday or on the night we changed also something on the truck, the whole front axle we changed. And then, yeah, it was a much more better feeling in the qualifying, and after that also a good position.
The sun is coming out right now, but it was raining quite heavily. What does it mean now for the first curves there?
This is typical for the season that we never know how what we can expect, you know, and how we should make our setup. You know, now we go out with a rain setup, but if the track is dry after some laps, then it's not good, the rain setup, you know, and so this makes difficult this season. It's all the time changing the weather so shortly before the race, and we never know what we have to do with the setup.
So what will be the tactics now for this race for you?
Yeah, it's always a little bit difficult with the trucks because we don't have rain tires, as you know, and I will try to have a good feeling and get a good rhythm. I think we will start under yellow. It means that this first chicane is not a problem because every trucks go in a row, but then it's important to make no mistakes because it's really easy to make a mistake in these conditions, and have also a little bit luck, and we will see.
Renee, so I wish you luck for the race. Bye-bye. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. And yes, Renee's goal here, pretty sure he's just going to be chasing championship points. Now, for anyone that didn't know, with the first race of the weekend, or at least the first race of each day, you get different points, just to make sure that drivers don't start running away with things with an easy reverse grid result. There are different scores for each type of race, basically. So the first race of the day is obviously on merit. You qualify and you race based on a position of pace. Whereas with the reverse grid, of course, we do get drivers that finished 8th in the previous race put onto pole position, and to stop them running away with things like that, basically it's almost like saying well done, but not too much of a well done. You know, they don't get too much of a reward for it. For example, if you win the first race of the day, you get 20 points. If you win the second race of the day, you get only 10 points. Basically, the top 10 get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in that order. But if you win the first race of the day, you get 20, then it's 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. So more points on offer in this first race of the day. These are the ones that really matter and make the difference in the championship. And Chris is down there again with another interview with us with Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, who starts this race, unfortunately, at the back end of the grid.
Yeah, end of the grid, but here on his door is for sale after Misano. So we want to ask Clemens, what's about that? Clemens, I just was outside reading for sale after Misano. What does it mean?
It means that I stop racing and go golfing next year.
Why that? I mean, all your fans will be disappointed. And how good is your golf?
No, so anybody knows what kind of truck under my lorry, under my trailer, and so it's a long way, but we will go back to the Swedish producer of trucks next year. So we would like to drive with this one also on Jarama, and after Jarama it's for sale, and next year we will come back with a new truck.
So it's like a farewell tour. How much you are enjoying your last races?
For us it's very difficult here, so it's the first time for us here in Le Mans, and yesterday we got a broken front spring and some engine problems with overspeed like in Zolder. The second race was very wet. It's so slippery here on the track, and we have to learn a lot. And so we see this race and the next race like a learning session for the next years.
Okay, and I have a tip for you. The Ryder Cup is on, so after this race, maybe you join the Ryder Cup. You can learn something for your golf game. Thank you, and have a good race. Back to you.
That's a real shame to see Heinrich Clemens-Hecker selling that truck there, but like he said, he's going to stop racing and go golfing. But they will return with the Swedish manufacturer, as he put it. We all know that he didn't want to say the word Scania, but of course the MAN will serve its purpose until the end of the season. So if you're in the market for an MAN racing truck, with a very interesting combination of a blue roll cage and this sort of burgundy exterior, and get in touch with Heinrich Clemens-Hecker or his team. Still fantastic racing machines, and you know, you do see, I mean, I've been, as you can imagine, since getting involved in all of this, I've been looking, and there are a massive amount of these trucks that really do go through the owners and go through the teams on their way to their differing successes all around the world in truck racing. They are incredible, incredible machines, though. I think they're fantastic to look at as well. They're not too different as well, I must say this, because I'm a humongous fan of touring car racing as well. And one of the beauties about touring car racing and truck racing is that they're very relatable to the trucks that you see on the road. Yes, these things may not have the headlights where they might normally be. They might have slightly different front bumpers on them. And obviously they're a lot lower and they don't have the sort of high roofs, but the overall shape of them isn't too disturbed. They don't have massive rear wings on them. They don't have a ridiculous amount of aerodynamics. You know, they are still recognizable if you line them up next to the trucks that you see on the road today, much like touring cars are. You know, you can sense the underlying road car that they're based on. And that's one of the best things to see about it. Now, here is a truck that you will see on the road, and hopefully see a lot of as well. I'm certainly hoping to see more of them on the road near where I am. And that is the Ford F-Max, which is the 2019 International Truck of the Year. Ford partnering with the ETRC and the ETRA this year to promote their fantastic F-Max as the official truck of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Getting a lap of honour at every race meeting as well, just to inspect the circuit, let us know that everything is all good. And of course to show off the beautiful shape and the fantastic looks of this brilliant machine. Ford F-Max was designed and developed over a 5-year period. And there was over 200 prototype units used, over 15,000 hours of lab testing and 5 million kilometers of road testing went into designing this very user-friendly truck. And it's a real strong competitor on the market as well. And according to Ford, with its ZF components, it has everything a driver could ask for. They have 12-speed ZF automated transmission. They have eco mode, power mode, which all optimizes and helps fuel consumption. And the high-performance engine is 500 horsepower, 2,500 newton meters of torque, and 400 kilowatts of braking power. And it really is a big old beast, isn't it, as it comes over the horizon. Fantastic in that dark blue as well. Really looks the part, doesn't it? Now making its way around the final parts of the lap. And then the F-Max will dive into the pit lane and will only be a few minutes away from the start of our third race of the weekend. Like I said, the 15th race this season in what was planned to be our 6th race meeting. But after the cancellation of Nürburgring, unfortunately, it is the 5th. 2 more race meetings after this one. We go to Jarama in Spain in the not too distant future, i.e. next weekend. So the teams go straight to Spain from here. Then we have a 2-week break and the championship heads to Misano in Italy. From the 16th and 17th of October, we will be rounding out our season. You can hear AC/DC playing again in the background. Fantastic atmosphere at Le Mans at the Bugatti circuit. And it certainly does provide a fantastic soundtrack to our green flag lap. So as you heard from the drivers, we may have this green flag lap behind the pace truck, the Iveco S-Way, the Bio LNG ready Iveco S-Way. And then we may have 1, if not 2, yellow flag laps to get the race underway on the yellow flag conditions. see the field making their way away with the Porsche at the back. Here's Heinrich Clemens Hecker's view. Not too much to look at in front at the moment, but there is certainly a lot of spray, much like we had yesterday. Some very undisturbed water. I'd say there's probably not as much water on the circuit as there was yesterday, though. But they are now led around by our beautiful Iveco S-Way. This Iveco S-Way using the bio-LNG engine, like I said. And it is the very first environmentally friendly pace truck ever in truck racing to be powered by a gas engine. And obviously, aside from the economic consumption you get from these sorts of vehicles, you'll also benefit from the reduced noise levels of a gas engine. It's said that in reducing nitrogen dioxide and soot emissions, these gas engines also reduce carbon dioxide emissions by up to 95%. So it's a massive step forward and fantastic clean technology for these engines. And it also means that there's a sort of, what would you call it? There's a sort of growth plan for championships like this, which could benefit from said gas engines. The championship already has a black smoke rule, so any trucks that are emitting black smoke will be pulled in and given a slap on the wrists and told to sort it out. Norbert Kish starts on pole position then. Sasha Lenz alongside him. Then it's Jochen Hahn and Renee Reiner. Antonio Alberthetti and Andre Kurzin make a very interesting row 3. Adam Lachko starting down in 7th. Keep an eye out for him in these conditions. He's alongside Stephanie Halm. Shane Breiten and Jamie Anderson make it a British row 5 as they head the Chrome category, the Goodyear Cup. Then it's Stefan Fast starting 11th alongside Louis Rikwenko. Luke Garrett is 13th, and Heinrich Clemens Hecker, who we spoke to earlier, is at the back of the field in 14th. So, Norbert Kish, that bright red 41 truck, usually at the front this season. Like I've told you, 7 wins, 9 podiums. 9 podiums as well for Adam Lachko, but only 1 race victory. Adam's consistency has really kept him in the fight in the championship this season. There's Stefan Fass in the Scania alongside Louis Rikwenko. There's only a couple corners more to go, and we may have still a yellow flag lap. Or maybe even 2 like we had yesterday, but I don't see the need for 2 at the moment, due to the conditions not being anywhere near as bad. It's going to be Kish and Lenz, as it was at the very start of the season at the Hungaroring, that lead us around. Jochen Hahn in there. Renee Reiner could be a proper spoiler in the pack here. I'm really pleased to see him so far up the order. It's exciting to see what he manages in his Iveco. Now, a number of the Iveco drivers all running similar liveries, of course. Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm, Renee Reiner, Andre Kurzin. They all basically run the same livery, just different colours. As the pace truck has made its way in now, and we're underway for a lap under yellow flags. So everybody will remain in order for this first lap, and then we will go green onto lap 2. They will, of course, increase the pace here just to get a feel for the conditions, but everybody will stay line astern first time round, just for safety purposes. But Kish and Lenz certainly not holding back the pace really at the moment, as it looks like Jochen Hahn goes a little bit deep into the long right-hander there, Virage de la Chapelle. Renee Reiner could do with sticking right with those guys at the front, so rather than having to defend from Antonio Alberthetti, he could try and attack and move forward. Norbert Kish there running really wide through Virage du Musée, but that is his test to see what the grip is like out there. He took the race lead yesterday from Adam Lachko by going way around the outside there, and then giving himself the inside line for this pair of corners down here. You can see some of the drivers still kicking the back end of the trucks out as well, just to make sure that they know exactly where they break traction. Still, Norby's truck does look like it's leaning over to the right, doesn't it? As I pointed out yesterday during qualifying, it seems like they've done something with the setup on that truck. It isn't quite flat. There's Renee Reiner, just ahead of Antonio. I imagine those two will have quite the battle early on in this race if Antonio's pace from yesterday is anything to go off. We're coming towards us then. Norbert Kish enters the final couple of corners. Are we going to get a second yellow flag lap? I do not think so. And the green flag is waved, and we are underway for round 15 of the 2021 FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Look at the speed at which they shoot past. So it's a nice tame start then. Kish and Lenz have gone, and then to be fair, Jochen Hahn doing a good job at opening up a gap to Renee Reiner. Lachko trying to latch onto the back of André Kurzim. Steffi Halm not too far back either, in 8th position. Steffi's been quite under the radar this weekend. We're hoping that she can turn that around. If she does finish 8th, let's not forget she'll be on pole position for race 4 of the weekend. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker was certainly making a move down the inside for a second there on Luke Garrett. Now this is Reiner under attack from Antonio Albacete. He's trying to find the grip around the outside. Doesn't quite work for him there. Does he get the run off the corner though? Don't think so. I think Reiner's just covered off the right part. Even when they're changing up into 3rd or even 4th gear out of there, they're still wheel spinning as it snatches the gear. Antonio goes down the inside. We've been told time and time again this weekend how quick Antonio is around this circuit, and he needs to certainly prove that here. He's got the job done early on at overtaking Renee Reiner. Now he needs to go chasing after his old mate, Jochen Hahn. Now Kurzim's been held up slightly, and look at the Freightliner in the background with the bright yellow highlights. Adam Lachko trying to come through as well. Jamie Anderson is apparently under investigation for overspeeding already. And look at Lachko's run off the corner there. He squeezes alongside André Kurzim. I don't think André expected him to get that sort of run. And Lachko is going to try and slide it down the inside. Kish still leads from Lenz. And Lachko moves over slightly and says, go on, get over there. And through he goes. Lachko up into 6th position. That all started when Kurzim, I think, got held up slightly by Reiner once he'd been overtaken by Albacete. There's Breiten ahead of Anderson, still leading the Chrome class. Stefan Fast and Louis Requenco right behind. Now Adam Lachko is very good at sliding these trucks and holding the momentum. Fantastic balance in that Freightliner. The engine much further forward than it is in a lot of the other trucks. The cab a little bit further back. There's Steffi Halm. You can see what I mean about the liveries on Halm and Kurzim's trucks. Very similar down the left-hand side and the right-hand side, of course, as well. Basically the same design, just in different colours. So there's Reiner. Here we're thinking about Adam Lachko now, knowing how quick Adam is in these sorts of slippery conditions. Adam looks down the inside. He's late on the brakes. What a fantastic send that is by Adam Lachko. Doesn't quite work for him, though. He has to hold it up on the apex of the corner. Looks like he might get a good exit on the Dunlop chicane, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get the run down the hill. It's going to have to be something late on the brakes, but Lachko showing fantastic commitment there to get that stopped. Halden goes down the inside of Kurzim, just behind. The two of them came together yesterday as well. Steffi ended up with a drive-through penalty for the contact they made. He's going to have to be very careful now not to do that again. But while he was very, very quick in qualifying, it looks like Renee Reiner struggling a little bit now to get it dialed in early on. There's Lachko all over the back of him. And this 4-truck train now. Not sure if it's right to call it a train. starting to move as one. Now Albacetti's in a bit of no man's land between all of this. We've got the top three breaking away again. Jochen Hahn not looking like he's making any moves on Sascha Lenz yet, but he's certainly closed up. Out of the left-right section they go, Shemin Obuffs. Lachko just seems to have some really good poke out of the corners. Just seems to get it hooked up very well. Looked like he chucked it sideways there for a moment. Renee Reiner quite wide through that left-hander there. Lachko's going to focus on getting a good run out of these final corners now to get him down the straight, but look at that, Kurzim tucked right up behind as well. Lachko smooths out the final corner. Are we going to see him dive out to the right? He might even go to the left of Renee Reiner, because that's going to be the inside for the chicane at the top of the hill. He is looking to the left. Now let's see, is he going to do what he did last time? Because he was further back than this last time round, and he went for it then. And he does, he goes down the inside, nice and late on the brakes from Lachko. And this time he stayed alongside Renee Reiner. He's going to try and squeeze him to the inside. Oh, there's a bit of contact as well. Lachko goes wide, but he's got it done. Now Andrei Kurzim's going to try and get a piece of this as well. I think there was contact with Renee Reiner as they came out of the chicane. Renee moved over to defend. Kurzim was there. Andrei won't be happy with that. Steffi Halm wants a piece of this as well. Kurzim's going to try and drag it all the way around the outside of Renee. Is he able to do it? Yes, he is. Look at the run that he's got there, sideways all over the curb as he lights up the left rears. And he's got it done. Renee looks back down the inside, though. Has he got his nose in there? Doesn't look like he's done it enough. Kurzim in front. Fantastic racing. Steffi Halm's in that. Shane Breiten's arrived on the scene thinking, hey, up now, what are you all up to? My commentary colleague Jack Werrell, that was with you at Zolder, has messaged in and said that Lachko has always said he is strong in the wet ever since karting, and it certainly shows. The commitment on the brakes there down the inside was fantastic. And the incident between truck 11 and I imagine 77, Renee Reiner, is under investigation, as there was a bit of contact there. Yes, there you go, there's the confirmation. Andrei Kurzim, though, is the man in front. Bit of a wiggle there as he goes through the right-hand side. This is lap 4 out of 11 so far. The counter in the top left is how many laps we have completed. They caught me out once or twice, trust me. Jamie Anderson then leads a real train of trucks. Again, not sure it's right to call it a train, but still. He's got fast Requenco and Garrett behind, then Heinrich Clementeca. You can hear just the tyres hopping and skipping along the surface as they scrabble for traction. This is a great fight further down. Steffi Halm looking very racy at the moment. She's currently in 8th position, which would put her on pole position for the reverse grid race. Here's the view from the stands. Look at the noise that these things make. It's fantastic down there. Shane Breiten now clinging on to the back of this fight in the big purple Apollo branded truck. Lachko's gone as well. Lachko has disappeared up the road away from these guys. Some 2 seconds faster than everyone behind him on that lap. Still half a second slower than Albacete though. And nearly 2 seconds slower than Norbert Kish. So while he has started to move away from all of this, he's not beating the guys in front for pace so far. We'll have to wait and see what progress he can continue to make. Look at Reiner now having to defend a lot from Steffi Halm. And as the track is developing and drying out, they're all looking for different lines to take. They're just trying to discover where the grip is, just testing each little avenue on the circuit. Now, Steffi's in a very tough situation right now. She wants to attack Renee Reiner, but at the same time, she needs to think about Shane Breiten behind, who will jump on any opportunity to get through. He's currently the championship leader by 5 points from Teo Calve in the Goodyear Cup, and he's going to want to take that to the next level. Steffi's not having an easy time of this. And you can hear them again scrabbling around for grip. Now then, Steffi's a bit closer to Renee as they come into the final couple of corners this time round. Kurzim starting to get away a little bit. And I think Steffi's conscious of that. She knows that she wants to go chasing after Andre. But look at this trio glued together. And in the background as well, Jamie Anderson under pressure from Stefan Faas, the 10th and 11th. But out front it's still Kish, who has 1.5 seconds over Sasha Lenz, who has another sort of 1.9 seconds over Jochen Hahn. And we've had a black flag for truck 33, which is Jamie Anderson, for multiple counts of overspeeding. So Jamie has unfortunately been told off one too many times, and now Steffi makes a bit of a mistake as they get to the bottom of the hill and absolutely annihilates all of the penalty markers. Bits of bodywork go flying as well. The front left of that truck came off yesterday after the contact with Kurzim. Now it's come off again. The tape clearly not strong enough to hold it on. Steffi's having a go at Renee Reiner. Gives a bit of contact there. Shane Breiten's trying to go around the outside. They're almost 3 wide as they come down here. They are 3 wide. I cannot believe my eyes, but Renee Reiner's in the middle of it all and he doesn't want to be there. He's trying to go as late on the brakes as he dares to stay in front of Breiten. Halm is around the outside with what's left of the front of her truck. And now Breiten's on the preferred inside line, kicks the rear end out. Steffi slots in between. How they all made that through there, I do not know. Fantastic racing from the 3 of them though. While there is contact, there is great respect. You can see Renee's bodywork at the front of his truck is actually flapping back a little bit. It's sort of being pushed under the front end of the truck. That's not going to be helping him to keep it that planted to the front end. Obviously the aerodynamics don't work that much on these trucks, but still, if the bodywork is damaged, you want to avoid it. Steffi's on the water on the inside of the circuit, goes down the inside. I think there might have been a little bit of a touch on Renee. And she's through. Now what about Breiten? Who pushes Renee in the back, says, come on, get on with it. Go after her, sunshine. But Steffi doing an absolutely incredible job, showing she can do this just as well as all the boys. And it's a joy to watch her race. Her and Adam Lachko had an unbelievable battle at the Hungaroring at the start of the season. So here is the moment where she hits not just 1, not just 2, but 3 penalty markers. That'll go down well. Destroys the penalty markers, destroys the bodywork on the truck. But at the end of the day, it seems like it's weight saving. And she's gone. Shane Breiten goes for a move down the inside, clatters into the back of Renee Reiner. And Renee's going to give it him back. Oh, he's gone straight across the chicane. Obviously sent in a little bit too hot. I'm not surprised if that has broken something on Shane Breiten's truck. It was a risky move to go for, and I think it's a risk that hasn't paid off for him. He needs to think about the Goodyear Cup here, because you get 20 points for winning a race in that, then 15, 12, 10 and so on. They have their own separate championship standings as well as the overall championship standings. And Jamie Anderson could have benefited from that. Here's another look at it. So he goes to sweep around the outside. Renee's come over a little bit and he just misjudges the overlap. Rips up the left rear corner on Renee's truck. And then he, in consequence, went straight over the chicane. Now Steffi's gone a little bit hot into there as well, trying to use the escape road and come back on. Hasn't really helped her out too much, to be fair, but again, from this very feisty battle, there's bits of bodywork flapping around all over the place in the wind. There's bits of bodywork missing. This truck racing at its best though. Highly entertaining racing in these 5.3 ton monsters. This is lap 7 out of 11, so we've still got a handful of laps to go. Norbert Kish still leads the way, nearly 2 seconds clear of Sasha Lenz, then Jochen Hahn, then Antonio Albacete is 6 seconds back, and it's another 6 seconds to Lachko. Now, that contact, as you see at the bottom of your screen, is under investigation, and I'm not surprised. It hasn't technically ruined either of their races, but it's just a little mistake and misjudgment from Shane Breiten. Renee Reiner is really wrestling that truck around now. You can see it's moving around a lot. That will not be helping the balance at the rear end. Wondering whether the tyre might be going down as well as a result of such a big hit. Stefan Fass and Louis Riquenco sideways into shot. Fantastic styling it out. The vehicle control that these drivers have knows absolutely no bounds. And let us remind you as well, as you see there, all of these race trucks are powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel. In one of the championship's many steps towards becoming carbon neutral by 2038 at the latest. That way we can sustain not only a cleaner environment for this racing, but of course an environment for this racing. And we can go truck racing for the foreseeable. Now that Steffi's cleared all the penalty markers out of there, the drivers have to judge it for themselves and still be really careful out of the right-hander. Renee is chucking that truck around very, very hard at the moment. Now there's your race leader, Norbert Kish. You can see the gap at the front has opened up a little bit between him and Sasha Lenz, and Sasha looks quite safe ahead of Jochen Hahn at the moment. Jochen's just banking some good points at the minute. Now obviously this is the first race of the day, so you do get 20 points for a win here, so this is where the big points come in and where the championship deficits and advantages all come into play. You only get 1 point per position over your rivals in the second and fourth races of the weekend. No further action there between these two. Number 17 and 77, that's Breiten and Reiner. They both managed to continue, albeit with a bit of damage, but I think that's the right decision there. It didn't ruin anybody's race. May have just made the trucks look a little bit less pretty, if anything. But as I was saying, this is the race where the points matter, because if you finish first and your championship rival is third, then you've gained 8 points on them in the standings, and there's 19 points between Kish and Lachko at the minute. Lachko currently in 5th position. He's going to get 8 points, and Norbert Kish is going to get 20 if it finishes this way. So he will gain another 12 on him, which will be a massive advantage the way of Norbert Kish. Sasha Lenz will get 15 points. He'll actually go on to 142. So he will be some 27 points off Norbert as well. The thing is, though, they all add up. You could argue that the second races aren't as important points-wise, but it's all about making your way through the field with the reverse grid involved. Now this is shaping up to be a real strong fight in the last couple of laps, isn't it? We're on lap 9 out of 11 at the moment. 8 laps completed, and look at Renee there as he grabs a gear. Back end of that truck really stepping out. Shane Breiten making sure that he's aware that he's there. He's gone a little bit deep into Virage du Musée, but he's tucked it in nicely on the exit. Can he get the run? Doesn't look like he can do it quite yet. It's a very menacing big purple truck chasing you down. Now look, Renee's defending the inside line, turning in early, but Shane is focusing on getting the run out of the corner. He knows that's where he can get him. Look how close to an overlap he was there. So close. Plants his foot on the power, gets a wiggle on the exit. Back end stepping out. I'm wondering what that bodywork flapping around is going to do for Renee Reiner. Wondering if it is going to slow him down in a straight line at all. Can't imagine there's too much in the way of aerodynamic resistance coming from it, but still, it could make the difference. They have these body parts for a reason. They do all help. Big gap back then to Stefan Fass and Louis Riquenco. Jamie Anderson, unfortunately, black flagged, as we said before. So now it's all up to Shane for the Goodyear Cup. He just doesn't need to throw this away with a silly move on Renee. Sure, he'll gain 2 championship points if he finishes ahead of Renee based on what he's going to score at the moment, but in the Goodyear Cup it's going to be big score of 20 points for him. Kish still leads, 2.8 seconds now back to Sascha Lenz. He's really opened the taps in the latter stages of this race as Norbert Kish. Hahn still in third, nearly 5 seconds off, and then it's a long way back to Antonio Alberthetti. The top 3 really showing the pace, but just not able to sort of match one another at the moment and battle for the win. It's looking like quite the stable podium slots, I should say. Now, Breiten down the inside of Renee Reiner. He's just been told as well by the stewards he needs to respect the track limits. And that's certainly down the inside, Your Honour. Now Renee's going to have to stick to the inside here. He's going to have to get that stopped really well to defend. Breiten's going to carry the pace around the outside. He saw Norbert Kish do this yesterday. Is he going to make it work? Yes, he is. Fantastic driving there by Shane Breiten. And look at that. Absolutely gone up the road already. He gets a great run. Nice work by the Brit. There's an apex there somewhere, mate. Renee Reiner, he's had to work so hard for this. Qualified 4th, he's unfortunately down to 9th place now. And importantly, that puts Breiten at the front based on the reverse grid. He will go on to pole position for race 2. Reiner will miss out and still start from 9th. The next Chrome driver is Stefan Fass in 10th position. So he will start there with Breiten right at the front in the Goodyear Cup. So that could make a big difference. And it'll certainly make Shane's life easier, as long as he doesn't get caught up in anybody else's nonsense in race 4 of the weekend. So we're on to the final lap now then, and it is Norbert Kish still leading the way. Sascha Lenz in 2nd place, Jochen Hahn in 3rd, Alberthetti 4th, then Lachko, Kurzim, Steffi Halm, and then this man, Shane Breiten. And there is your race leader then, Norbert Kish. I told you at the start of the day, he's won 2 races at every race meeting so far this season. And he's won 7 races, so you know what that means. He's not won his 2nd one here yet, but he's on his way to go and do it with ease. Nearly 4 seconds clear of Sascha Lenz, making everything look absolutely spot on, really throwing the truck into some of these corners. He's got this superior confidence in that truck. The team have it set up so well. The way it punches out of the corner as well, look at it, it almost squats down at the back. And like an excited dog, it just disappears over the horizon. Sascha Lenz going very well in 2nd place as well. Jochen Hahn still just in touch behind them. But nobody, and I mean nobody, is quite in touch with this guy at the moment. It's going to be his 10th podium of the season in 16 races. Or 15 races, I should say. And it's been a very typical performance that we've come to expect from Norbert Kish. So put your hands together, because race 3 at Le Mans goes the way of the Hungarian hero. Norbi Kish takes round 15 of the 2021 FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Sascha Lenz gives it a massive drift across the line for 2nd place. Jochen Hahn takes another podium. That is Jochen's 4th podium of the season. Less than half of that of Norbert Kish. Antonio Alberthetti finishes in 4th place. Adam Lachko will be next up in 5th. There he is in the Bagheera Freightliner. Started 7th on the grid, so good progress for him. Andrei Kurzim next up ahead of Steffi Halm, they're 6th and 7th. And winning the Goodyear Cup in that race is Shane Breiten. Fantastic overall finish for him as well. Plenty of hard work. Renee Reiner, well, I think that's the hardest he will ever have worked for 9th place. Here's Norby once again then. Top step of the podium. And not much can be said about that really, other than we're getting used to it this season. I'd say we've gotten used to it so far this season. Sounds the horn in excitement. Bit of a drift again, as he is so good at doing. Those poor old tyres. It's going to take something very special to stop Norbert Kish in the championship now. I'm going to tell you that for free. He has been such a dominant force all the way through. And he has a strong advantage over the likes of Adam Lachko, Sasha Lenz, Alberthetti and Jochen Hahn, who are all rather close behind, or well, rather close to one another at least. There's quite the gap now from Kish back. But everyone else sticking nice and close together. You can hear the marshals and the fans all enjoying themselves out there. Congratulating Norbert Kish, who will, I'm sure, drift it on the exit of the chicane as he did yesterday. Yep. It's fantastic to watch. Now, the drift that he did around here yesterday was unbelievable. I'm not sure he's going to get the same sort of drift in the dry, but I'd love to see him give it a go. I think he's calmed it down now. He's going to behave himself, isn't he? Not quite giving it the theatrics of yesterday. Oh, no, never mind. I spoke too soon. Never change Norby. Brilliant stuff. You can hear the massive round of applause as well that he gets from the crowd. They all absolutely love that. And he really is a driver of the people, is Norbert Kish. He has a humongous following behind the scenes. All of his fans make themselves very well known across the various social media outputs that the FIA European Truck Racing Championship has. And into the pit lane he comes to celebrate another very successful afternoon's work. Still has another race to do later on, of course, but still. He will start from 8th on the grid with Shane Breiten starting on pole. He's going to be alongside Steffi Halm, who's going to be interesting to watch from the front row. Sasha Lenz, another solid result for him. Plenty of championship points, 15 points coming his way. And Jochen Hahn getting 12 points for his efforts as well. That is the 8th race win of the season for Norbert Kish. 9 races left to go this season. And he's getting closer and closer to making this championship fight easier and easier from his perspective. Big congratulations all round from the team. And we wait to see, you can see Jochen Hahn in the background there, happy with another podium. That's his 4th podium of the season. He had a very tricky start to the championship. There's the unmistakable fluoro yellow and orange helmet of Sasha Lenz. Good day at the office so far for him. He has 2 race wins this season. That's his 8th podium of the season. Yet to qualify on pole position though this season is Sasha Lenz, very interestingly enough. And that was some hard work, well done. Jochen Hahn gives him a quick pat on the backside, as Jochen Hahn does. Such a great character. Congratulations all to one another. Ever the joker. If only I could understand German. I really need to learn German. Either way, very entertaining here at Le Mans. It's great to be here as part of this event. I say here as if I'm there. I'm in the UK at the moment, but still, everyone and the paddock and all of the organisers, the teams, everyone's certainly enjoying themselves. And the racing really does reflect it as well. The drivers are throwing everything at this very, very difficult circuit. A lot of these corners are very soft corners. It's not one of these sort of more recent, more modern, sort of overly manufactured circuits where it's just a straight line and then a really sharp corner, then another straight line and a really sharp corner. A lot of these corners are really long, smooth corners that flow into one another. It's a very flowing circuit. It's difficult to make moves here because you can compromise yourself way too much on the exit, and then suddenly if you're chasing 2 trucks, for example, and you only overtake one of them, then the other truck has just disappeared over the horizon before you've even got out of the corner. So the drivers are certainly reveling in it, though. They're loving driving it so far from what I've heard and what we've seen. And the fans are certainly enjoying themselves out there as well. And Chris is down there now in the pit lane with Shane Breiten.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You are the leader now, 180 points. You left Theo Calvé behind. How important was this win today?
I wasn't really thinking about the points. I was just having a good race. I had a really good race with Steffi and Rennie. I thought I was going to get both of them, but I didn't want to risk late braking and hitting them. Rennie was fair to me. We had a little touch together, but it was a really good race. And on a bonus, we won the Grammar Cup, the Goodyear Cup. So that was okay.
Can you tell us how difficult was it out there? It was very slippery in the beginning.
Yeah, it was. We set our truck so it would dry up. So in the beginning, it was very difficult. About 3 laps in, it started to come, and then 1 lap to go was very difficult. I looked at the space behind, and I had to slow up, risk not getting a marker because I was on a warning.
Now we have reverse grid. What does it mean now on the pole position for the second race?
Oh yeah, no pressure.
Pressure or no pressure?
No pressure.
Pressure from behind, maybe.
Yeah, more than likely.
Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, and then back to you.
Yes, indeed, Shane Breiten, like you say, had a great old race with Renee there. Great to see that he really enjoyed himself. And that's the thing, these drivers really do love doing all of this. They love every single moment of it when they're out there on track battling one another. Obviously, it doesn't always go right. Some drivers have issues and so on, engine issues and things out of their control, incidents and the like, but you've got to consider that when you're throwing trucks around like this, at these speeds, at this size as well, on tracks that, you know, they're not the widest circuits in the world, we are going to get contact and have those moments. But he said they had a little touch. Now, the way that Shane Breiten went into the back of Renee Reiner, I don't think I would call that a little touch, but to these, that's nothing. You know, he just saw it as part of the job, to be honest. And we wait now for the podium. Just to confirm as well, Stefan Faas was second in the Goodyear Cup, and Louis Riquenco will get a Goodyear Cup podium as well. He finished 11th overall in Truck 64, so we'll see him on the podium in just a minute. But first we will have the overall podium for the drivers that finished first, second and third. The first of which was a man that doesn't really take any introduction when it comes to truck racing podiums, and Jochen Hahn in the number 1 machine will take to the very right of shot there for the third step on the podium. There he is. Wave of the hat as well. And second place, as you hear the announcer mention, Sasha Lenz. Oh, excuse me. And for the 8th time this season, his 10th podium and his 8th race win, Norbert Kisch. 4 times the amount of wins of any other driver this season. Amazing. And there you go, the Hungarian national anthem. Quick raise of the fist from Norbert Kish. And he always appreciates all of his team and all the fans as well, as Norby, like I said before, he's a real showman. Certainly knows what people want to see. And there is the gorgeous trophies that they get here at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. A great outline of the track. Gold, silver and bronze. And now the drivers will pose for photos. And the changing of the caps as well, which you'll see in just a second. Jochen Hahn carrying his cap with the iconic star on the side, which he carries on his helmet and on his branding. And three very, very happy drivers can go back to their teams after a little spray of the champagne. Now, they won't be soaking each other this time round, but if any of them end up on the podium after the last race later on, we will certainly see some of that. No laundry bills for these guys yet. Sasha Lenz soaks our camera guy. And some more hard work completed by our great, great drivers. So we wait for a moment or so, and then we will get the Goodyear Cup Podium for drivers in the Chrome category. Basically, these are drivers that haven't been a champion of the last 10 years, haven't finished in the top 8 overall in the previous season, and haven't qualified higher than 6th in any Super Pole sessions of the last season. Anyone that does any of those fates, completes any of those sorts of challenges, if you will, or is a platinum rated FIA categorized driver, then they will go up into the Titan category and not be eligible for the Goodyear Cup. Known, of course, previously, as you heard Shane Breiten mention it, as the Grammar Cup or the Promoters Cup. And Louis Requenco will take his podium. He'll be really pleased with that. He needs to make sure he gets the right side of the podium. Takes a good stroll across all of it at least. Stefan Faas takes second place after starting on pole in the second race yesterday. He had a very, very tough time, but he's going to be starting 10th for race 2. And then Shane Breiten takes the top step of the podium once again in the Goodyear Cup, extending his championship lead by a long, long margin. That gap will be roughly 25 points now to Teo Calvi. I apologise for speaking over the national anthem for a second there. Seems my mental arithmetic was too slow, but also I could barely hear it over the sound of the trucks leaving the pit lane, so apologies for that. But Shane Breiten takes the top step with Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco, his first Goodyear Cup podium. And then these drivers will now pose for the photos on the right-hand side of the podium before having a bit of champagne to spray for themselves. And yes, indeed, do not forget that you have a bottle of champagne. Fantastic moment for any racing driver to be able to spray the champagne. It really is an iconic moment in motorsport, is it not? And Requenco will be over the moon. Hopefully the first of many podiums for the Spaniard. After turning his hand to truck racing in 2018, he certainly made a very, very good start of it this time round in only his second meeting in the championship. As you can see, the French Truck Racing Championship lining up for their next race. But first, we'll have a look through the results of ours. Norbert Kish takes the win, 6 seconds clear of Sasha Lenz. Jochen Hahn finishes third again, with Antonio Alberthetti in fourth. Adam Lachko, Truck 55, P5. Andre Kurzim is sixth ahead of Steffi Halm. She'll start second on the grid alongside Shane Breiten, who finished eighth. for the next race. Renee Reiner started way up in 4th place for that race and unfortunately fell down to 9th. Stefan Faas rounds out your top 10. 2nd in the Goodyear Cup, as we saw. Louis Requenco 3rd in the Goodyear Cup, 11th overall. Luke Garrett was 12th. Heinrich Clemens Hecker finished 13th, just over a minute down. And Jamie Anderson, unfortunately, was black flagged early on. But we head now down to Chris, who has a good few people to speak to, I imagine, after a fantastic first race of the day.
Steffen, what kind of race was it? Wie war das Rennen? Wie schwierig war es draußen? Es war ja am Anfang auch ziemlich nass. Und ja, auch herzlichen Glückwunsch zur guten Position.
Das Rennen war sehr schwierig. Vor allem haben wir heute Morgen eigentlich gedacht, wir fahren im Trockenen ein Rennen. Jetzt sind wir raus, haben kurz vorher das Setup noch umgestellt auf Regen. Und es ist hier definitiv so, die Bahn trocknet sehr schlecht ab und man findet ganz schwierig eine Regenlinie. Der Gummiabrieb, wo einfach auf dem Asphalt ist, der ist so rutschig und wenn man da mit dem Truck draufkommt, da rutschen alle 4 Räder oder alle 6 Räder einfach weg. Ja? Und man versucht halt trotzdem den schnellsten Kurvenspeed zu haben, ja? Um einfach schnell durch die Kurve zu kommen. Und genau, auch beim Rausbeschleunigen ist dann so, dass die Hinterräder durchdrehen und mir kommt nicht voran. Ja. Also ist sehr, sehr schwierig.
Yeah, he just explained how difficult it is to find the right setup in these conditions. It's very slippery, but you succeed. Also ihr habt die richtige Einstellung auch gefunden. Wie ist die Konstellation jetzt im Goodyear Cup? Wie ist das einzuschätzen? How's the constellation in the Goodyear Cup?
Die Konstellation ist so, dass wir immer weiter Punkte sammeln und hoffen, dass wir da noch ein bisschen wieder nach vorne kommen. Und ja, schauen wir mal. Ich habe jetzt die aktuellen Stände nicht im Kopf.
Alles klar. Dann viel Glück fürs nächste Rennen. Good luck for the next race. And back to you. Thank you.
Well, we'll have a quick look back then at what happened throughout that race. Another yellow flag start, unfortunately, due to the conditions making things rather difficult. Gave our drivers good chance to get away in a safe manner, though. And before you knew it, we were green. And the drivers were absolutely flying at every opportunity they got. Renee Reiner had to defend early on from Antonio Albacete, but ultimately Antonio would get the job done early on to try and go chasing after Jochen Hahn. Adam Lachko also tried to make his way through the field after this fantastic battle with Andrei Kurzim. Eventually he would be the winner in that one, as we all know how good Adam is in slippery conditions. Soon after, he would have a go at Renee Reiner, his first attempt not quite working into the Dunlop chicane, but he spent another lap behind him trying to line it up to give it another run. The top 3 broke away with Antonio Albacete just over the horizon in the background. Adam Lachko managed to just get past Renee Reiner, but there was more contact between the two of them, and as Renee tried to get through, Andrei Kurzim then came under firing well from the number 77 machine. Andrei just about squeezing in front, leaving Reiner to defend from Steffi Halm and Shane Breiten just behind. Great views from the grandstands of all the battles developing as they power their way down the straights. But soon it was Shane Breiten that was on the move. This time knocking Steffi Halm slightly wide at the expense of a few penalty markers and some bits of bodywork. 3 wide into one corner doesn't go, and luckily Shane Breiten realised that. Steffi Halm tried to hang it around the outside of Rennie Reiner, but ultimately they would both lose out to Shane Breiten. Before this moment of contact, Shane just misjudging the slight gap, allowing Rennie to go back in front. Steffi Halm soon disappearing over the horizon as well. Thus correcting myself in saying they both lost out to Shane Breiten. Rennie Reiner's bodywork would flap around in the wind all race long, and Shane Breiten would flap around all over behind him as well, trying not to take too many risks, but ultimately try and get that position as soon as he could. There's some very, very close racing between the two of them, millimetres between the pair of them at most points, sometimes even less than that. But a fantastic move in the end by Shane Breiten around the outside of Virage de Musée, meaning that he gained 8th position overall. But this man, Norbert Kish, was completely untouchable at the front of the pack, and he took his 8th win of the season. Sascha Lenz certainly displayed some fantastic drifting capability with 2nd, and Jochen Hahn grabbed another podium to finish 3rd. Antonio Albacete was 4th. Adam Lachko finished 5th, ahead of André Kurzim, Steffi Halm, and then your Goodyear Cup winner, Shane Breiten. More drifting antics by Norby, and a fantastic podium. Thank you very much for joining me, Chaz Draycott, and I will see you all later on.
So we say bye-bye for a very short time. At 4:40 we are back here in Le Mans with some exciting racing, track racing. See you then. Bye-bye.